I had ChatGPT go through and listen to all of our episodes.
Okay.
And then I said, come up with a cold open script. However, the prompt was, come up with a cold open script specifically for a story that you think that I would tell.
That Colin would tell.
For something that I did over the weekend.
So this is I love this. So we are basically,
So each person has a part. No, you don't read ahead. do not read ahead.
But wait.
Tori, don't read ahead. Okay, so each person has a section that they have to read off of.
Okay.
I
love scripts reading.
I'm going to start.
This is great.
And I'll also provide some background as well. They titled it The Costco Cart Incident. Soft studio chatter, Mike's crackling.
Oh my God.
That's the action.
That's the action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crackle.
Colin. Okay, before we start, I have to tell you guys what happened this weekend. I took my kids to Costco. Big mistake already. I know.
I'm already laughing. It says laughing, and I'm laughing. I can already see where this is going. Go on.
So, I go in for paper towels. One thing. 30 minutes later, I'm pushing a cart that looks like I'm prepping for the apocalypse. I've got a kayak, 12 pounds of almonds, and a Bluetooth speaker I didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago. Why do I have 12 pounds of almonds?
Wait, a kayak? Colin, do you even have a lake?
Have a lake.
That's the best part. No lake, no storage, no plan. But it was $299 off. And in my head, I'm like, that's basically making money.
Classic financial advisor logic.
That's so you, though. Like, that is something you would say.
I didn't spend money. I saved $299.
Exactly. And my kids are hyped. They're like, Dad, we are going kayaking. And I'm thinking, sure, as soon as I figure out where to put this thing. Anyway, I get to checkout, and the total was $842.
Very specific.
And as I'm loading it into my car, I realize I forgot paper towels.
No way. You forgot the one thing you went for?
Yep. And that, my friends, is why human beings should not shop in bulk or trade on emotion.
Perfect segue, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. Why emotions and money don't mix.
And apparently neither do kayaks and cul-de-sacs.
So I don't know where cul-de-sacs came in, and I don't know why it implanted me having children. And
I'm not going to lie, like they kind of hit all of our personas.
No, I mean, yes, fine. I do the segues.
The script is wrong.
Well,
why
but
would
like
anybody
the
buy
vibe is
12
there.
pounds of almonds?
This is such a sitcom setup. Like this, it's
No.
like writing, Everybody Loves Raymond or something with this. It's okay. Look, this is the most ridiculous thing. ChatGPT is not going to take any screenwriting jobs in Hollywood right
Certainly
now.
not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe for a Hallmark movie.
But I could see, like, if you had an assignment in high school, like if you're like coming up, you have to write a script or something, or my
Yes.
daughter wanted to write a script, like collaborating with ChatGPT
Might be useful.
might be. I mean, your whole prompt was just like, get to know me, which it failed. Like it got some of it. It knows the financial brain that you have.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the thing that was a little alarming to me is that apparently online I give off a persona that I randomly buy like completely pointless things with no rhyme or reason, or like, why would you buy a kayak to just throw in your garage because it's on sale? And why would I need 12 pounds of almonds?
I'm
And why
actually.
is Tori talking about cul-de-sacs?
Because you don't have a lake.
What does a cul-de-sac have to do with that?
Because
don't have a cul-de-sac.
you got a kayak with no lake. So like, what are you going to put the kayak in? Your
Well,
cul-de-sac.
The cul-de-sac.
Oh.
I think this is
Okay.
This is the vibes that you put off. You put up, middle class American dad vibes, and
Apparently.
you obviously look like you're gonna and sound like you're gonna live on a cul-de-sac. It's not true, but I could see it.
Apparently, I'm outdoorsy and eat healthy.
No, you're not outdoorsy. The kayak is not even something this character is gonna put a kayak in a river, and the kayak's gonna float away to the ocean, right?
That is
This
something I would
character
do.
does not know how to
I guess
kayak.
That does resonate. But what was kind of funny about
I love this, though. It was great.
What's kind of funny about this is your ending, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. Why emotions and money don't mix. Now, I did not put in our topic, and it just knew.
It also knows my segue skills.
It picked up what you do quite well at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also didn't know that that's how segue was spelled.
Did you know? I didn't know how to spell Caesar.
Like the
Caesar
dressing?
salad?
Like Caesar salad. You like Caesar? Yeah.
Caesar.
Yeah. I literally always.
ER. I don't know.
Okay, well, that
ER.
part I wasn't getting wrong. I was doing CE like every time because it's a C sound, like E, and it's
Like how
CA.
people say Kofi.
Yeah, I hate that. Welcome to the Compound Growth Podcast with Colin and Wheeler, where we talk all things growth. From financial growth to career growth, personal development to societal progress, we explore how each layer builds on the next, compounding over time to shape who we become. Each week, we break down complex ideas and emerging trends into clear, actionable insights. Because growth isn't just about numbers, it's about understanding the world and our place in it. The information in this material is for general information only, and is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Investment advice offered through Integrated Partners, doing business as Ko-Fi Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor. Integrated Partners does not provide legal, tax, mortgage, advice, or services. Please consult your legal tax advisor regarding your specific situation. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. The economic forecasts set forth in this material may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that the strategies promoted will be successful. Michaela was taking a Spanish quiz the other day. And they tried to like doctor it up and make it cute. Like, it's not a quiz, it's a quizzatunity. It's like an opportunity to take a quiz. And she's like, this is a quiz. You cannot doctor this up to be something that it is. You can't fool me. Anyways,
An opportunity.
I have a quizzatunity for you today.
I love and hate this at the same time.
Where was the Caesar salad invented?
Rome.
No.
Great guess.
I know
Very
it's
logical
not. I know it's not that. I'm pretty sure it's France.
It's not. It's Mexico.
Is it really?
Yeah. I didn't. My daughter was learning Spanish today or studying for Spanish today, and Jess said, "Did you know?"
No.
And this was funny because yesterday I texted I put it on my grocery list, like Caesar dressing, and I spelled Caesar wrong. And she's like, "You spelled Caesar wrong." I'm like, "No, I didn't." But I did. And then the next day she was educating me on where the Caesar salad was invented.
I feel like whenever you make an error, there's like a lesson followed afterwards sometimes.
The universe is teaching you.
Yeah. It's like you spell Caesar wrong and now you know how to spell it correctly and where it's from. Not that that's useful, but now you know.
Well, I have no segue today.
What I will say is if you haven't tried making your own Caesar dressing, it's actually pretty fun. And it's very, very good.
Okay, but fun might not be the word to describe. Like, why is it fun to make a Caesar salad dressing?
I enjoy cooking.
Well,
so,
okay.
Yes. So if you enjoy cooking, the act of making your own Caesar salad, Caesar dressing,
is pretty easy.
It's pretty easy and fun.
And does it it doesn't have all the
It's
preservatives.
like 15 cloves of garlic.
What? In Caesar salad
Oh,
dressing?
yeah.
Did you put anchovies in?
I like anchovies. Kaylee does not. So it depends if she's having it or not. But yeah, you dice up a little anchovy, throw it in. You know, you've got lemon, a ton of Parmesan, garlic, oil.
Some sort of cream.
Yeah, well, it's thick in basically any type of oil that you want.
So I don't know if I know that I like anchovies or not. I feel like...
Have you gone down this tin fish rabbit hole?
Oh, God, no. What is this tin fish rabbit hole?
There was a thing, and I think it was during COVID. Did you ever get pushed in this tin fish thing on Trader Joe's? Okay. And it's not just Trader Joe's.
Don't you follow Trader Joe's on Instagram?
There are
Must be a
people
YouTube
trying it.
thing.
It's not just Trader Joe's. But there is like a community around getting the best tin fish. And I went through a big thing with tin fish during COVID where... I can't wait for this to be a ChatGPT prompt in the future.
Like you've said
by the way,
so many times.
ChatGPT also came up with, this is just one of like 6 stories it made for me.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
excited.
So you get a whole
and I have
catalog.
one for you and you.
Is that what you were laughing at your computer
this is
earlier?
what I was laughing at earlier.
Typing and
I
chuckling.
was gonna ask
giggling.
you, but I was like, I'll leave him alone.
Yeah, no, you'll find out later. But anyway, the tin fish thing, they have great ones at Trader Joe's and actually some local Italian markets. And if you just take some tin fish and put it with like some like cream cheese, hot pepper jelly, you can even do like Thai chili crisp. It's really good.
Are you talking like tuna?
I'll bring it to Rocks tomorrow.
No.
We'll have it.
No.
Okay.
No.
What kind of tin fish?
There's all different kinds.
Salmon? Is there a salmon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about?
I actually don't know if there's salmon. Probably.
I really don't like tuna fish either. So.
It's not tuna usually. Usually it's like sardines or mackerel or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it comes in an oil and it's. Anyway,
They have octopus like that too.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, this
today.
has nothing to do with it. But I
Try to segue that.
I can't. I am segue-less today. Here's my segue. Welcome back to Compound.
Welcome back to Compound Growth
with Colin and Wheeler, where we talk about tuna in a can or whatever you call it, tin fish.
And buying kayaks.
Tin fish and buying kayaks. All right, so this week we were brainstorming what to talk about, and we had kind of 2 avenues, and I feel like they're related, but we had 2 avenues that we could go down. The first was crypto and talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and all the yada yada yada.
Whether or not it has legs and people's opinions
versus
on it.
gold, etc. It's very financy, and on the other side of that and related is kind of like a vibe check with where we are today. And that sounded more interesting.
The vibe check, I think, resonated more with most of our listeners.
Yeah, vibe check is because it's real. It's what they're experiencing every day. And I feel like there was a place in time, I think when we talked about like whether we should go into crypto or not, it felt old to me. Like crypto is not exciting anymore. It's become mainstream. It's like not even...
Well, crypto's been around now for like 15 years, 12 years, probably.
Yeah,
From like the first Bitcoin transaction.
Yeah, the pizza.
Yeah, the pizza, the famous most expensive pizza.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like $115,000 pizza now.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think most people who are curious to learn about crypto know what it is now. It's
agreed.
It's not punk rock anymore, so it's not exciting me.
No.
But I think what's interesting for us to explore, and I don't want us to, because when I presented this topic, I could see it going, the wrong way. But I think there are a lot of things financially that look pretty good right now. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of that, people are miserable. Like no one is happy.
Yeah.
And there have been different bull markets that we've lived through as advisors and investors where people are like excited, right? Or there have been like better economies and people are excited. Right now, it just feels like even though things financially are not that bad and the wealth disparity is bad, I understand that. But like for the most part, the market is going up, so people are making money in their portfolios if they have portfolios, which most of the people we talk to do, right? Yeah. Most people are employed. Mm-hmm. There were some layoffs for some of our clients earlier in the year, and we have clients in Hollywood, for example, that are really struggling to find a job, but that's few and far between, and it's not like a mass societal issue at the moment.
Right. It's not exactly a 2008 unemployment situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Or any of like the, recessionary. It's not a recession.
No, it's not.
But people feel like it's a recession. Mm-hmm. And if you think about people are employed in general across the board, they're making money in their portfolios. If they have a savings account, they're actually still getting a good interest rate on their savings account.
They are.
Right. But everybody's miserable.
What were you saying about the 30-year mortgage yesterday too?
Oh yeah, so we had a client yesterday who sent me an email, and they got a like mid-5s rate offer with no buy down. And I think that the 30-year mortgage right now, as we're recording, is I think it's like 6.1 or something like that. So it's not, that was a good deal, right? And this is so funny because mortgages, I was talking to other clients and they're at like 7%, and they're like, should we wait? There might be more rate cuts. And then we had to get into the conversation of, well, the Fed doesn't control the mortgage market; it's influenced. But the mortgage market is a market, right? Like there are deals to be found, and there are averages, et cetera. But it's getting better. Housing affordability, property values in the most of the country have stopped going up.
Yep.
Mortgages are getting more affordable.
Yep.
One more reason to be optimistic, but everybody's pessimistic.
Yeah, and just to further expand on that, I think what is really playing a big role here is it's not necessarily the money that's making people feel bad, because you're 100% right. You know what I mean? It's like market's up. I think we're at 14.5% right now on the S&P.
15.5.
Is it 15.5 now? Okay, so 15.5 on the S&P. We've got, inflation has slowed. Mortgages have come down. You've got, I'll say in theory, very low unemployment for the majority of sectors out there. Certainly there are sectors that are affected more so than others. But why is it that people kind of feel bad? And we'll get into that more today. But something I was thinking about as well is oftentimes when people feel the way that they do, they tend to make financial decisions in their own portfolio.
Yeah.
And when I was looking through this, I was just doing some research, and I was thinking, like, when has consumer sentiment felt this way? And when has it been low?
Yeah, because this is historically low sentiment.
Historically low sentiment. It is tied, actually, with June of 2022.
Really?
Yeah. June of 2022 was the lowest recorded consumer sentiment ever on record at 50. And we're currently at 50.8. The next lowest consumer sentiment was actually in the 1980s, which was 51. And then you had 2008, 2009. You had February 1975. You had 1990, 2011, and then 2020, actually, COVID had that brief, super sharp dip, and then it went back up. One thing that was kind of interesting, which granted, as we just discussed, stock market returns aren't necessarily correlated with people's happiness per se.
No.
But almost every single year following one of these events was a massive rally.
So 2022,
following year,
2021,
2023, 20%.
Yeah.
In 2008, 2009, you had the global financial crisis. Following year, the markets were up 65%. Then you had 1980 consumer sentiment. That was the third lowest level. Market was up the following year, 25%. Then you had, after that, 2011, market was up 27%. Then every single year subsequently after that, the market was up over 20% in a low consumer sentiment year.
I think it's what's interesting. Look, consumer sentiment is, I think, survey based, right?
It is totally consumer. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is based off of University of Michigan, consumer sentiment study. JP Morgan did a thing on it too. And then, economic U.S. consumer confidence data.
Yeah. So, but it's all like, it's funny. We've talked about this before. The people who are going to respond to these surveys are the people who go on Yelp and write a negative review, right? Like
100%.
But it doesn't change the fact that those people are out there and they're feeling really negative. It's striking to me that this feels worse than 2008, and 2022, I'm surprised it was so low in 2022 because, 2022 was a bad market, but we'd had just two great markets before then.
Well, to your point, something that I thought was kind of crazy is I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it was horrible at the time. And I vaguely remember having some very like heavy weighted conversations with clients at the time.
Yeah.
But I honestly can't think back that far. And it just reminds me just how quickly you move past things.
Yeah. Well, what I remember about 2022 was how bonds did us dirty, right? And we had all these conversations and it felt like our portfolios were doing worse than they should because bonds were doing worse than historically they'd done. Right?
I remember this now that you mention it because there were so many client conversations where we tried to be more conservative,
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
You know, your bonds were down just as much as your stocks.
Yeah.
So there was no relief. And every single client was like, what do we do?
Yeah. So I guess from that standpoint, like, yeah, the pain and misery was everywhere. And inflation was really high.
Inflation was super high.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was all the, riots and everything that was the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
And everything too.
Yeah. And there was also, I actually just wrote about this for, I don't know when that newsletter will come out, but whenever that newsletter comes out, I wrote about this because 2022, a recession was guaranteed. Mm-hmm. There was 100% chance forecast for recession, and it didn't happen.
100%. Right? Well, that was like, do you remember? I don't know if you remember Brexit. There was like a 97% chance, and then Brexit.
Yeah. Now Brexit has been a complete disaster for England, for London, UK. England, London, it's all like, I got
tomatoes,
and then I got broader. Anyways, for the UK, Brexit has been a disaster. I know that. But it didn't create a recession, I don't think.
No.
And yeah, like everybody forecast a recession for the United States, and it was as reliable as the weather in New England, right? Like nobody actually knew, and we didn't have a recession. And my theory in the newsletter is that we didn't have a recession because everybody said there was going to be a recession. Right. And so choices were made, right? Their companies cut some jobs, but there weren't massive layoffs.
Right. I remember there were a lot of tech layoffs. That was also when, was that First Bank? Not First Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Oh, yeah, SVB.
Yeah, that sucked. And that was earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And that was the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right. There was a lot of stuff happening.
There's a lot. Now that I think back, that was a rough year.
Yeah, it was a rough year. How did we survive?
Yeah, but we're all here.
We are. But you're right. Like, and then 2023 and 2024 and even 2025 have been good stock market years, right? But obviously the stock market is not the economy, and the stock market is not consumer sentiment, but it plays a part. What I think is really interesting is when you have people from an investment standpoint, they look at the stock market, and we have clients that are far outperforming the stock market, right? And then they will look at the returns of some of, the more speculative stocks that are up like 600% or 400% or whatever this year. And they get FOMO and they feel like they should be doing better.
100%.
Right.
I have that. I've had that conversation actually a few times because, as you know, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, the S&P 500 stocks, but the actual performance is usually driven by select numbers of stocks within there. And I have a lot of conversations with clients about, I wish I would have invested more in that. Or, if I go back and would have bought in Coca-Cola in the 70s or something like that, You can always go back and look, but that's not very healthy.
No, it's definitely, FOMO is not healthy. Yeah, it's very unhealthy.
Yeah.
But it's become pervasive in our society because it's everywhere. It's
in your face.
It's in your face on social media, obviously, right? You had that comment about the neighbors of millionaires and how they're more likely to go broke. Not millionaires, of lottery winners are more likely to go broke trying to keep up with the lottery winner. Like FOMO, whenever there's that keeping up with the Joneses, it's like we have keeping up with the Joneses on steroids now. And then it used to be crypto. Crypto was the exciting thing. Like, people were driving their Bitcoin Lambos and everybody's like, oh, that could be me. And now people are making 600% on quantum computing stocks that are like unprofitable companies or energy, like utility companies. Some utility stocks are up 200, 300%.
Oh, they're absolutely ripping. But no one I'll say a lot of those crypto people wouldn't look at that. Yeah,
well, they're 5 or 6 times more expensive than the market. And they're not crypto stocks, but they're also like, who's trading utility stocks? And then it becomes these guys that you have clients reaching out and they're like, hey, my friend says this is going to go up, or my friend works at this company and he thinks at this company. And it's like, there's nothing, they're not trading on, earnings or revenue, or they're just trading on hope. It's hopium.
There was a famous guy that I used to get pushed his stuff all the time on TikTok and Instagram. This must have been 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember when this was. But it was like all of those videos of, I bought this stock here and sold it here and traded options and I made 100,000 in one day and you can too, sign up for my masterclass.
Yeah.
That guy ended up going to prison for creating a Ponzi scheme. And I think what's kind of funny about all of this is whenever you're on social media, everything's in your face about like how much money you should have and how much money you should make and the stocks that you should have bought. And if you follow my advice, you'll buy them again in the future. But if you have a basket of 50 stocks, you're going to get lucky on a few of them. And in the same way that you're going to get unlucky on a few others. And that's the whole point of diversifying your portfolio. It's not about getting one specifically right. It's just about having a basket. But at the end of the day, it's boring to talk about. But if you have, a fairly diversified approach and just do the right stuff, it's going to be better than just rolling the dice every time.
Yeah. But it's amazing how we find ways to be negative about something that's good because it's not good enough.
It's not. I was talking with a buddy who was big in Dogecoin.
Oh, Dogecoin, of course.
And he put like a couple $1,000 in and he wrote it up to $200,000. And he was a young guy and really didn't have, I'll say, like a ton of money. And I told him, I was like, you should sell that and pay off your mortgage because they just bought a condo, they're starting a family, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, man, I'm riding this to the moon and all this and all that, and wrote it all the way down.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes the FOMO and he still talks about like how depressed he is about that. And this is like years later.
Well, the impact of loss is far more powerful than the impact of a win, right? Like it's, when you have a good thing happen to you, you don't get the same like impact or level of impact as like if you make $10,000, that's nice. If you lose $10,000, I lost $10,000. Like I'm so unhappy. You had a client call in yesterday that was down like a fraction of a percent in his account, but he was up 10% over the course of 3 months or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And it's that that 10% isn't going to make him feel better, but that 1% loss is going to make him feel bad.
Yeah, that's a great client question that I always love to ask people. It's, do you fear the loss of money? Like what weighs more in your mind, losing money or the fear of missing out on gains?
Yeah.
And that is a really soul searching conversation. Because if you can look at your portfolio and see that it's down 40% one day and that doesn't bother you, you're a very different person than someone else who would feel differently.
Yeah. And that's, I've had my portfolio down 40%.
So it's like, it happens.
It happens. And it's like, I'm more comfortable with that. My risk tolerance, my risk awareness are both really high. But I feel like we can sit here and talk about, the reasons that people are unhappy and just recognize that, vibe check, things don't feel good.
Yeah.
And
what do you think it is?
I think it's primarily we anchor to certain things, right? Yep. I think the wealth disparity, that big wealth gap leads to a lot of FOMO. Mm-hmm. And then it leads to people pretending that they have more than they do, right? Like we have that kind of, I don't know what to call it, but that glammed up Insta life where like, here's what life looks like for me. And it doesn't actually look like that, but you want it to look like that. So you tell everybody else it looks like that.
It's the fake it.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it. And sometimes you don't make it. So I think it's an issue that, everybody thinks they should have more. Nobody's satisfied with what they have. And I feel like it's that lack of satisfaction is a good thing sometimes. Like it means that you can drive and try to do better, right? Like I think that pursuit to continue to grow and move forward is really important, but you can't use somebody else as a mirror. You have to have your own mirror, and you can't just look at somebody else and say, well, I should have that.
Right. Well, an interesting like exercise to think about that I try to do with Kaylee sometimes is when we're making life plans or talking about a major purchase or something like that. It's if we were on an island and if no one could see you make this purchase, would you make it? Like, are you making it for societal norms, or is this something that you're actually going to do and enjoy? Like if you were to buy a new car as an example, and if you're not really into cars like a certain someone that we know in this room, like you wouldn't get any sort of additional benefit by maybe spending a lot on a really, really nice car if you don't care about it. But society may say, oh, well, you're at this level, so you might want to treat yourself.
Tori, Jess told me recently, we were having a conversation that it was a very calling conversation. It's what would be your superpower, right? And Jess wants to teleport everywhere.
I think Jess's superpower is, I'm jealous that she came up with that. It's brilliant.
Jess has already a lot of superpowers, but her aspirational superpower is teleportation.
But specifically with her house.
With her, well,
Like
yeah.
you could take the house with you.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? But I feel like that's a Tory vibe.
I would do that too.
Yeah.
Either that or control the weather.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like Storm. Do you know who Storm is?
No.
There's
you don't watch X-Men?
There's an X-Men character.
Oh.
Halle Berry played her. Do you know who Halle Berry is?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
But I don't know what X-Men is
Okay.
at all.
All right.
But Halle Berry.
X-Men is my that was my jam.
It's a
I
great
was an
series,
X-Men guy.
actually. Very underrated.
Yeah. It's all about outsiders and
Does someone
and,
Yeah.
control the weather?
Yes, Halle Berry controls
Storm
the
is a
weather.
superhero
Yeah.
that controls the elements. And
Yeah,
like,
I feel like that's a good one.
yeah, that's
Underrated one.
Yeah.
But definitely teleportation. I would have to do because, my car's not that reliable. So
I don't see this is a practical skill. It's a practical,
just makes
it's a
sense.
practical
Very
superpower.
practical superpower.
Yeah.
would be
All right.
great.
I don't want to go down this controlling the weather.
don't let me take it from here.
Spiral because like
Don't ask Colin what he wants
Yeah,
to do.
yeah. don't
no.
So
Don't.
anyway, yeah, I do think though that when it comes to making financial decisions, that society and in particular social media puts a lot of pressure on you to act a specific way and do certain things. And I just wonder if that was really stripped back, if people would feel the way that they do right now.
There's a politician
Okay.
in Massachusetts who feels like, and this is a perfect opportunity for Tori to fact check and look up a name and tell me what I'm wrong about. But he was a guest on this podcast, and he was talking about the concept of we have taxes on certain vices, right? Like if you win money in gambling, then you have to pay taxes.
Okay.
And, there's taxes on cigarettes, etc. And he feels like one thing you could do with social media is like have kind of a vice tax on it. And it feels like it's a measure to basically accept that social media is a part of our lives, right? But it's almost like you're putting that sticker on it, that danger,
That it is
cancer
a vice.
sticker. Yeah, this is not good for you, right? And so I've gone back and forth because I've felt at times like if social media didn't exist, we'd all be in a better place. But that's not going to happen. And you have to, this is just like with my daughter, I'm trying to teach her how to navigate, having a cell phone, right? Or like, you can't just say, well, you can't have a cell phone. You have to there are certain things in her life as she grows up, she needs to have exposure to them or outside. She's not going to know how to operate within those parameters and within those societal norms. So you have to try to guide her through this. And I feel like social media at some point, I don't know if it's a necessary evil, but it's going to be, unless there's like some sort of wave, a generational shift where everybody's off social media, at some point she's going to be she's going to be an adult, right? And she might have social media before she's an adult. And we need to coach her on how to navigate that because it's accepting that it's here.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly not going anywhere. It's a part of our lives and our business.
Yeah.
We're sitting here putting out a podcast right now, which is social media.
Is podcasting social media? I don't think that is.
It goes on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
No, the YouTube part of it is.
Podcasts are social media. It is media produced socially.
That's like saying the news is social media.
No,
because
we are not the news.
No, I know that we are not the news. I am not pretending that we are the news. I'm just saying that social media is I think the clips from a podcast could be social media, but I don't feel like the content is social media. Is it?
I guess it's the same intertwine of movies, and then they're doing.
Call Her Daddy is a podcast. That's
press.
social media. Yeah.
It's like press.
Well, it's like press, yeah. But it's on social media is like an outlet, right? It's it.
Yeah, but how other way would you do press besides social media? How would anyone know what's going on in the movies besides social
traditional
media?
print advertising?
Yeah, but that's just not a thing. Imagine if we didn't do anything on social media and we only released our audio feed on some random.
No, that's true. No, I understand. So that's saying that social media, we advertise through social media, right? So it's like saying the advertising gets through social media, which look, we do this. I'm not saying
Yeah,
we
no, I
don't do
know.
this.
I guess it's just kind of like it's evolved to that where there's no part of any media anymore that isn't socially run.
Well, I think like the problem,
Like it's not just podcasts; it's everything.
the problem that I have with this and the whole theory with bringing it back with the whole theory of social media.
No, I don't want to bring. I'm so curious to explore this, but going forward. But you keep going. Keep going.
All right. And we talked about this before. The groups that you're in on social media or media tend to stay together. So here's a perfect example. Okay. I was on TikTok, and this was about a month and a half ago, and I deleted my TikTok because of this. And I was scrolling through something, and I saw this like video of this alien or something like that, like this alleged alien video that they had.
Like a UFO thing.
UFO type thing.
Okay.
Next thing I know, I'm on my phone for like an hour and a half getting all of these incident updates. This is like the Miami Mall thing. Don't go down this rabbit hole.
Won't.
If anyway. So I got so into this to the point where I like couldn't sleep. And then like I'm having pushes about it on like Facebook, Instagram, like all this stuff. And it's getting like more and more and more aggressive. And it's the same thing with politics, and it's the same thing with the markets. It's like if I even tilt myself mentally in one direction slightly on social media, it like grabs you and pulls you that direction. Versus like when I'm planning a trip to Europe or something like that, it will then grab me and pull me in that direction. And it's like, oh, well, look at this beautiful place in Italy, and look at this beautiful place in France, and look at this value hotel. Versus like, it depends on how you go into things mentally, gets enhanced like crazy.
All right. So this is sort of the conversation we were going to have today and sort of not, but I think this is actually really important to explore because it's possible that social media is not the problem. Mental health is the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like what I was talking about with my daughter in coaching her on how to navigate social media is not anything that we had. Like everybody who started with, like I didn't start with social, like Tori like came of age when social media existed, right? When I went to college, Facebook wasn't around. Right. So like those are very different, but we had AIM.
Yeah.
AIM, right?
Oh yeah.
You had away messages.
Yeah.
So you would like post.
Did you have Jess's initials in your bio with the heart?
I don't know if I did that.
Okay.
I actually, I'm not going to talk about this. I think that I've missed opportunities to celebrate my relationship at certain stages along the way. So I'll leave it at that. But I think that I would have an away message that would indicate like I was trying to emote. I was trying to say, here's what I'm feeling, and here are the song quote lyrics that will like tell you what I'm thinking right now.
Right.
And that was the same thing as like a Facebook post, right? Like anybody in my group saw that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And that was to me like a social media thing. But no one taught me how to do that. Like no one, like I didn't have any parental guidance on like how to navigate that versus navigating like drinking or smoking or gambling or any of the other vices.
Yeah,
right?
you just figured it out as a kid.
And then to your point, you guys, like social media, I don't know whether I agree that podcasting itself is social media, but everything is social media now, right? Like it's, their movie coming out, or like you can't watch sports now without like, they have just like live broadcasts of people watching sports. Like I want to actually watch the sport.
Right.
Right? So like it's everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, this is going even deeper into the rabbit hole, but I think it's Monaco. Monaco has, I believe it's a policy with their news and paper and things like that. I don't know how they manage social media or anything like that. This was a long time ago I read this, where basically like the paper doesn't publish anything about crime or negativity because it's giving credit to basically someone, and it's basically promoting the fact that someone did something wrong and they're getting famous because of it. So I was talking about this with Kaylee. We were on a walk over the weekend, which I forgot about this conversation, but now that we're talking about it, it came back up. The Charlie Kirk assassination, right? Like, I wonder if that guy who shot him, if he was to be unknown and no one knew that this happened. And apart from, obviously, you knew that Charlie Kirk got shot, but if his name was never published, if he didn't have social media pushing him certain stuff, clearly he suffered from some mental health problems. But you just like wonder how much media and social media and all of these things like influence these types of decisions. And if someone already has a mental health problem, it's going to almost make it worse, to the fact that, you know, when I looked at the alien thing, next thing you know, I can't sleep because it's pulling me down this rabbit hole. And I know that when the election was going on, you know, it's like you Google one thing with the election, the next thing you know, you're getting published like the most hateful crap ever. And it just like pulls you down this super depressing rabbit hole.
I think what's interesting is, yeah, it's possible that social media contributed to the mental health issues that guy, who I don't know his name,
I don't know either,
that he was suffering from.
Yeah.
But there's always, you know, this country has a really, really long history of tragic shootings.
Yeah.
And there wasn't always social media for that.
Fair.
You know, I feel like, again, that actually indicates it's more of a mental health issue, right? You know, it's really, I think, obviously, when there's so much happening in the world that it's easy to get upset by it. It's easy to go down that rabbit hole like you're talking about. But if you have the Monaco situation, is that blissful ignorance or is it dangerous ignorance? Like, are you not aware of bad things happening? Is that really a good thing? Or is that just like your ability to navigate those bad things happening? Would that be better?
I don't know. I mean, ignorance is bliss is the famous saying, as it goes.
I'm not sure that's true, though.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's good to be aware of stuff, but I don't think it's useful to dwell on it.
See, I think it's... I've had that kind of thought in the past, like dwell, like, you know, don't dwell on this, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's something like the word dwell doesn't necessarily achieve what I'm trying to achieve when I say it. It's kind of like you don't want to just get stuck in it. Right. You want to continue to make forward progress. And sometimes we get stuck inside something, but you don't make change without being aware of the problem.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't like hide from the things that are happening out there that you might disagree with. Or like if there are people, like if there's a high crime rate in your neighborhood and the newspaper doesn't report on it, then that's
sucks.
Doing you a disservice.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
And when there are things happening in the world or the country or whatever you might disagree with, you can't just walk through life not knowing about that. And it's unfortunate that we don't know how to better cope with it. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is that, you know, look, we've had our situations where we were on opposite sides of the boat.
Sure.
And if we didn't like learn how to navigate that and talk about these things, like we had to put work in to figure that out.
We did.
And not enough people do that.
Well, I think too, something that was apparent to me is it took us a while to have a conversation.
Yeah, it was because it's tough.
It's tough. But the thing is like during that time period where we didn't have a conversation, there was like a lot of stuff you were being pushed, a lot of stuff that I was being pushed, allegedly about you and allegedly about me.
Right.
And a lot of assumptions get made, but there was no discussion had until later when we were like, this is getting a little tumultuous.
Yeah.
You know, we should chat.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, I think, for the fact that we were getting pushed a ton of stuff about allegedly each other, because it's just a blanket statement for the most part about one side versus the other, or the way you feel about one issue versus another, then you would just assume that about that person.
Yeah, so I think that's a lot of, I think, what we get as a problem here too, right? Like everything is surface level and it's supposed to be black and white, and that's why everybody's unhappy, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of issues. We had a prospect today, and there's a couple, but the woman in the couple is from Kuwait.
Okay.
And they have nation state wealth in Kuwait.
Okay.
To the extent where they don't worry about money. The people who live in that country have money. She got 2 Ivy degrees paid for by the country.
Okay.
And she received a salary at the same time.
from the country.
From the country. So like the social benefits.
Are they taking immigrants?
Amazingly, she still wants to move to this country.
Okay, fair.
But because her husband is from here. But look, I'm not an expert on Kuwait, and I cannot say that it's better there than here. But they have oil, and that's why they have all this money.
Yeah.
And I've had other clients that have been stationed there before and have told me about that, and I was reminded of it today. We have a lot of wealth in this country, and
An absurd amount,
right? But
Yeah.
it is not available to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that the more that continues on and the more it's in everybody's face, the harder it is for us all to get by. And that drives that FOMO, and that, creates that mental health crisis. And there's a massive mental health crisis, obviously, in this country. And therapy and talking about these things are not normalized.
Yeah.
Like, it's still taboo. I will openly speak about therapy, and then I'll Tori will say, "Hey, are you sure you want to make sure you talk about that on the podcast?" And I'm like,
What's wrong with therapy?
I respect what Tori's saying there,
No,
because
it wasn't about therapy. It was just about,
No, I know personal stuff. Yeah.
do you want to share those really personal conversations?
right.
And that's fine if you do, but
Yeah.
to share it, and sharing it with us is different than sharing it with everyone online.
Right.
So-
Through social media.
Through social media,
social
which
media.
you didn't realize we were doing.
Right. Well, this is social
You do
media
now. People
Well,
listen to this?
My therapist can't share my conversations, but I can.
Yeah.
But I think that is just, if we're not aware of the problems, I think that's really my point. I think you have to be aware of the problems, and you have to have a healthy approach to them. And when we work with our clients navigating their emotional connection oh my God, we're going back to the script.
Yeah, I know.
What was the quote about my segue? Was it's emotions and finance?
That's exactly what we're talking about today. Why emotions and money don't mix.
Oh my God, it's everywhere. Well,
Yeah.
It got me.
Yeah. it does.
ChatGPT
Here you
knows
are.
me.
It
Here I
knows.
am.
Yeah.
But emotions and money, it's not that they don't mix, but they are mixed, right? And that's what makes it tough. And emotions are mixed with everything,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's, we're navigating a situation right now where we have a long commute in the morning, and we could shorten that commute by leaving our house and finding a house that's closer to our destination, and that might make our lives easier, but it will also disrupt and uproot everything that we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
And there's a financial component to that, buying and selling a house,
Yep.
right? And there's a time component to that, like how we're spending our days, and it's all emotional. And I don't think you can just have a cold decision. Like, I can't. I'm not a robot. I'm very emotional.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing. And, emotions help people make very important decisions. I heard something the other day that I thought was incredibly encouraging to me. And it was a Morgan Housel kind of snippet that he did. And he was talking about how markets ebb and flow, right? Mm-hmm. So you go through recessionary periods, and then you go through rallies afterwards once you're out of the recession. And normally following a recession are some of the best times in the market.
Yeah.
In the same way that has historically happened, both politically and with consumer sentiment.
We talked about this before earlier in this podcast series.
Yeah. So what he was saying was, we're going through a lull right now in terms of division in the country, and a lull right now in terms of the way people feel about politics, jobs, everything.
Yep.
Every single time that has happened in the country, the following 10 years coming out of a lull have been some of the most prosperous times in the country. Mm-hmm. And it have been the times that people have come together the most, is usually following a massive downturn in division. So if you look at like the 70s, you had like Watergate and assassination, people were super divided politically, and it was not a very good time at all. Then you look at like the 80s and 90s, which was where people were actually the most symbiotic, and the markets did incredibly well too. So it's ebbs and flows in both, in terms of markets, consumer sentiment, and politics, which I thought was very interesting.
I think, look, the problem with that is the 80s and 90s is where the kind of like this inequality really erupted, right? Like, and it's kind of, the 70s was a recession and stagflation, and everybody suffered.
Yeah.
And then everybody started to get rich, and then people got richer, than other people. And I think that's that's what makes it really difficult to say that on the other side of this we'll have a similar situation, because it can't. It's not going to be a rising tide. It's hard for me to believe, unless AI creates a rising tide lifts all ships situation, which it could.
It could.
Right? But it could also, what if this is a lull? Where are we in it? Like, when did it start? Did it start in COVID? Have we just like not acknowledged everything that we went through with COVID, and we just kind of moved on with our lives and pretended that it didn't change everything?
I think COVID did change everything. It had a lot of positive impacts in the same way that World War II
You're such an
was
optimist.
horrible, for the world, and millions of people died and perished because of it in horrible ways. But after World War II was incredibly prosperous, and also it brought a lot of positive changes to the world. Now, obviously, I'm not saying we should have another world war and making that like a good thing.
No.
But is it really a problem, though, that the rich get richer?
I think it can be if, look, that nation state wealth situation. Like, if I'm prepping for this podcast and I say, here are all the things that we can do to have a more hopeful framework, like faith in the future, right? Yeah. If we have, medical care and availability for everybody, including mental health, right? If we have people not worried about being able to pay their bills, if we have a healthy approach to social media, etc., if we have enough wealth in this country to support those situations, the problem that we run into, I think, frequently when it comes to, let's call it Medicare or, canceling student loans or whatever it might be, it's like, well, that's not equal and that's not fair. And we have to get past what's fair. Like, I hate when people are like stuck in what's fair. Like, it's not about,
it doesn't matter if it's fair.
Right? It's about what's right for if you get to a point where you could start over, and yeah, there were some people that had money, more money, the rich were richer, but everybody else had what they needed, and there was no argument about giving them the support to have what they need.
Yeah.
And even maybe the opportunity to have more. It's like, the problem is that we don't have enough people who have what they need. And even if they do, they don't have an ability or a path to have a little bit more. And that's what this country is built on. This country is built on, like, I can come to this country, have the American dream, and I can improve my circumstances, and then my kids can improve their circumstances, et cetera, et cetera. We have upward mobility. And people don't feel like they have upward mobility, and they can't, they feel like they're just being pushed down. And the feels suck, and we have to figure out how to navigate those feels. But it's great if we could have like a hard reset, like unplug the router and plug it back in, and everybody has what they need.
I get it. I wonder, though, like, those people that feel as if they don't have what they need or they can't get what they need, and I'm not being dismissive here, if that is a mental thing or if it is an actual thing that they can't get it.
I think it can be both. And it can be some of this and some of that at different times. And there's no perfect system. There's always going to be people who feel whatever.
Right.
But I think, like, if Tori's student loans were canceled and I had to pay mine all the way down, whatever, right? Like, I'm already achieving what I need to achieve. And it's not, you can't just like have that. It's like fraternity hazing. It's like, well, I got hazed, so you have to get hazed. And that's a stupid way to do things. And I recognize that people feel like there shouldn't be handouts. I feel like there's just like a basic lifestyle that could be afforded to everybody in this country. And then beyond that basic lifestyle, and maybe that's what's it called with the everybody gets equal payments?
Socialism?
No, it's not socialism. Kind of socialism.
Yeah.
And now I'm
universal income?
Universal UBI.
Yeah.
Yes. Universal basic income. It's like universal basic lifestyle, right? Like, this is the basic. It is good, right? You're gonna live a healthy lifestyle. You're gonna have what you need. If you want more than that, then you are empowered to try to go get it. And you can fail. But here's your cushion that you fail back onto.
That's fair.
Like, do you have to fail into, poverty?
No, but I don't know if the universal basic income would ever get you out of poverty.
I think it also could create inflation. Like,
well, exactly.
I
mean, that's the thing is, I think it's a slippery slope. because I agree with you. I think healthcare should be a basic right of everybody in this country, and we've talked about that before. And it should be good healthcare, which it isn't always. And I do think that the education system is set up in a way where it is actually predatory versus beneficial.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and I think that that's messed up. Healthcare has come a long ways in the last 50 years in terms of curing diseases, cancers, illnesses, and it is better than what it was.
Yep.
We can do a lot more to help people now than what we could, especially with robotic surgery and things like that too. So that's good. But is it perfect? No, of course not. Will it ever be perfect? I doubt it. Because how could it ever really be perfect? Because each person's situation is different. Now, I do believe that anybody coming into this country has the ability to work hard and get ahead. I believe that to my core because I've seen many, many people do it successfully. On the flip side of that, I've seen people take chances and have it not work out. And I think it's unfortunate that that happens, but it's not necessarily about blaming the system because you had the opportunity to work hard and get ahead. And just because it didn't work out doesn't necessarily mean that the system's flawed.
I think part of it, though, is that there isn't always that path where you can just work hard and have a home to go back to or have, like, you be compensated fairly or equally for your work. Like, it's, I respect and appreciate the point of view that you have because I overall agree with it. Like, if, you know, that's what this country should be. There isn't always that path. And I think we have to acknowledge that, you know, just because we've seen that over and over again, we can't be Monaco and blind to when it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be instances where it doesn't work out. Is it possible that it does? Yes. And I think that that's the most important thing because there's many, many other countries where it's not possible.
Yeah. And
this is one of, you know, a limited amount of countries where you can go to and actually make something and have it be yours, which is appealing. But I struggle personally with certain things like cost of living. Right now, cost of healthcare is incredibly high. And, you know, for someone to go and buy a house or in this day and age, even afford rent, you know, you can't make, so at least around here, there are other parts of the country where maybe it would be better. But if you're on minimum wage right now, you know, you can't afford around here a decent apartment or anything like that, you know, so that's tough. But I remember growing up, certainly minimum wage when it was like $6.90, I couldn't have gotten an apartment then either.
No, and well, look, minimum wage is not much more than that.
It's not.
It's like $7.50 or something.
It is,
now. So it's, I think
it hasn't kept up.
It hasn't, and it's state by state.
It is
too, which is like, you know, states are supposed to have all the power, I suppose, but that leaves them to make bad decisions too.
It does.
I think it's funny is like I feel like this podcast just uncovered I'm a socialist now. And I'm like, wait, am I a socialist?
It's funny when you explore things like that and then it comes out. I
don't think I'm a socialist, but I didn't know I was a social media personality.
There are a lot of things that I agree, and I'm worried about this being published, but I'm going to say it anyway. I personally think that the privatization of things like insurance and healthcare in general is a problem.
I totally agree with you. And PSA moment now. So Jess was calling around looking to make an appointment. And she called this office, and the office told her that...
Like a medical appointment?
A medical appointment.
Okay, got it.
Told her that our insurance was not accepted.
Okay.
And that's not something... Like, you run into that.
Yeah.
It's fine. And she said, by the way, your insurance is not accepted at Portsmouth Hospital. And I'm like, what? So... What fly-by-night
your local hospital
insurance do we have that I can't go to the emergency room in my house? Now, by law, they have to treat us in the emergency room if we have like a life-threatening emergency.
Yeah.
But it's out of network to go to the hospital. You know what my insurance is?
What?
Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield.
One of the biggest
One
in the
of the best, especially in this area, one of the best insurance companies that you could have. And I'm like...
That's alarming.
I didn't even know. So the PSA is like, hey, check to see if your insurance is accepted at your local hospital because it might not be. And if you are in a situation like we are, where you're shopping on the open market, like check this, because I've checked to see if it like my primary care accepts it.
Yeah.
Right. Or like I've checked things like that. I never thought to check whether the hospital, just like in general, would accept my insurance.
That's unbelievable.
And I didn't know. And Jess is like, is this something new? And I looked it up, and it was like 2013.
It is nothing new.
Accepting.
Well, thank God,
Blue Cross
nothing's
Blue Shield.
happened.
Yeah, but now I'm like, if I go out to Portsmouth and I fall down and crack my head open, I gotta call tell the ambulance driver to take me to Exeter or somewhere else.
Oh my God.
Which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, don't even, and then we can talk about what that ambulance would cost.
Yeah.
Because I actually did this. Michaela got a concussion when she was like 1.5 years old.
Isn't it like $20,000 for an ambulance?
It was not that expensive, but it was tough. Like she just, it was scary. She fell down, she hit her head and started like vomiting.
Oh shit.
And we're like, oh man. And yeah, we had to pay for the ambulance, we had to pay for the ER, and I had like a high deductible insurance, so I paid a lot out of pocket.
Yeah.
I had an HSA, which got drained.
Yeah.
But yeah, insurance in this country, even if you have good insurance, isn't always good.
So Kaylee's mom was skiing in Italy. This was years ago, and she fell and broke her hip on the mountain in Italy. She was like, "Oh crap! How does my insurance work overseas? Like, what am I going to do?" So she went to the hospital, and she was in the hospital for 2 days because I think she needed some sort of minor surgery or something. I could be wrong. They were monitoring her, whatever it was. And long story short, she left the hospital after staying over there a day. She said the food was incredible. Everyone there was super nice. And her hospital bill was $80, and they gave her crutches for free.
Crutches. Those crutches cost $80 each here.
If that was here, that would have been like a $35,000 bill, and your crutches are like $800.
Yeah. But this is the thing where like going back to the 70s and then like seeing 80s and 90s prosperity, like that's where all this privatized stuff happened. Like we unregulated, that allowed for that boom in growth, and then like because of that it went too far. It's like just giving a teenager a license and just saying have fun with this Ferrari,
right? Start them off on this car. Well, I'm totally fine with paying taxes and even paying more in taxes if it meant that my money was going to go to a place where it was going to actually benefit human beings that we live with and make the country a better place. And I don't think that that's necessarily been the case over the last 30 years specifically.
No, I don't think anybody nails this. That's the problem, is that like you have to, first of all, you have to build a system. You have to get everybody on board, and then everybody has to have faith that the system is going to work out.
Yep.
And there's no unifying system right now that we can all just buy into.
No.
And it feels like if people could just like look at their neighbors and say, what does my neighbor need? And if that person needs it, maybe there are other people that need it, and maybe we can all kind of just like help hang out, man, and be a community. It's really hard. And I know that there are a lot of personal interests and conflicts of interest, and all of that gets in the way. I completely understand that. And I'm not living in a dream world. But I can see the problems, and I know what the solutions are. It's just that people aren't on board to agree with them.
No, because by agreeing with, and not only agreeing with, but implementing that solution, you're taking power away from a lot of people. Yeah.
I think there's going to be something drastic. If I had to predict in the future, whether it's UBI or something else like that, there's got to be, if we're going to climb out of this lull, then we're going to need to have some sort of unification moment. And I don't know what that is, and hopefully it's not World War III. But we've got to get all on the same page, and maybe, in the best case scenario, AI and somehow enables us to do that.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about this with schools the other day with AI, and how, there are schools now that are way, way less expensive that are using AI to, make people more educated or kids more educated. And it's, a kid comes in and he needs to learn basic math, and the AI system's like, well, what do you like? And he's like, I really like octopuses. So it's like, okay, well, imagine an octopus, and then like an octopus comes up on the screen, and it's like, it has these tentacles, and then these tentacles, and it just like goes through the whole thing. But it's, very inexpensive, and then the rest of the time is meant to build social skills.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating. There's got to be ways to make the systems better. And certainly there's fears around AI in the same way that Bill Gates said the internet was never going to work. You know,
he said the internet wasn't going to work?
Famously said that the internet was just a hoax.
A hoax. Well, Bitcoin is rat poison, according to Charlie Munger. Right?
Yeah, so. Well, and also Jamie Dimon said whoever invested Bitcoin's an idiot. But yeah.
But here's my Bitcoin funds. All right, cool. Any parting thoughts?
No, I mean, I think consumer sentiment is a real thing. And I think that the performance of the stock market doesn't have any necessarily indication in terms of how people feel.
Yeah.
And I guess my parting thoughts is, while consumer sentiment is low now, I'm optimistic that in the future, given that it's low right now, we'll probably have some sort of moment that's unifying, whatever that might be. And I do think it will come back. But certainly there's peaks and troughs to everything. And it feels like we're in a bit of a trough right now.
Well, we're an optimistic podcast, and I appreciate that we keep getting guests on here that talk about how AI is going to be helping people in the future and a positive impact. And I tend to fall into that boat, even though I prepare for the worst and hope for that best.
Of course. I'm with you.
Cool. Thanks, Colin.
Let's wrap it.
In this episode of Compound Growth, we dive into how the market has historically braced for doom and gloom predictions, and yet, somehow, these fears really materialize the way past recessions have. We unpack FOMO, keeping up with the Joneses, and why that kind of hustle is the recipe for burnout, especially compared to steady, long-term investing. Along the way, we explore how social media quietly shapes our assumptions about different groups of people, and we leave you with a question that we definitely need the answer to. Is podcasting a form of social media? I say yes, Wheeler says no. We must know. See you next time.
Compound Growth with Wheeler and Colin, sponsored by Ko-Fi Advisors. Reach out today. Yay!